It's good to see you playing well with others again.
Just like a bat. I dig it.
Maybe temporary.
On today's episode, Batfleck no more? Say it isn't so! I let you know what's going on at Warner Brothers.
Life cannot be contained. Life breaks free. Life finds a way.
Old and new worlds collide. We see our first official trailer to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
You should just go to City College. You know, with your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail, and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
Later, I review the perfect movie. At least according to Rotten Tomatoes. Do I agree? I'll let you know.
Well, here I am.
And finally, why can't we all just get along? I asked this question in this week's Movie-ism. All this and much more in this episode of EMoney's Reviews. I know, it's been a while. I missed you too. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed some of my other videos. My first comedy sketch, Waiting for Her to Respond. It's a situation I hope a lot of people can identify with. My first top 10 movie list, movies in which human beings are jerks. And not to mention some of my stand-up appearances. That's something I hope to be doing a lot more of in the future. But hey, I'm back here on EMoney's Reviews now, so let's get into it. First up, what is going on at Warner Brothers? As you may have heard, the box office return for Justice League fell short of the studio's expectations, so now they're looking for someone to blame. Now, I'm not sure how the worldwide box office plays into the studio's success rate, but while according to IMDb, the film took $300 million to make and has only made back $200 million in US ticket sales, it has made well over $500 million in the worldwide box office. So to me, that sounds like a pretty sizable profit. But what do I know? Personally, I thought the movie was pretty great. Was it perfect? No. But, spoiler alert, they fixed Superman's brooding personality, and was it just me, or did his suit seem a little brighter than it did in the first two movies? And Momoa made Aquaman cool, something I didn't think was possible, and as usual, Gal Gadot kills it as Wonder Woman. My biggest complaint was towards the end of the film when Superman is lifting an entire building out of harm's way. Now, this is not the first time that something like this has been done in a film, so it's not completely Justice League's fault. But lifting a large structure like that, or even an airplane, from a single point, that is not how physics work. His hands would go through the foundation before he would lift it. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the Max Fleischer cartoons, but for live action in 2017, can we try to just be a little more realistic? This isn't a Michael Bay movie after all.
Damn!
Yeah, I said it. But anyways, I enjoyed the film. The DCEU is course correcting as best it can, and I give it 3 popcorns out of 4. But apparently a lot of folks at Warner Brothers disagree. John Berg, who has been in charge of overseeing the DCEU along with Jeff Johns, has vacated his position and now a replacement is being sought. And though Johns will remain on as DC's chief creative officer, a new person is being sought to take point on DC's future films. As for Zack Snyder, well, there are no plans for Snyder to direct any future DC films, although he will remain on as executive producer for Aquaman and Wonder Woman 2. But what about Batfleck? Well, as Affleck himself indicated during the press rounds for Justice League, he plans to hang up the cowl and will not appear in Matt Reeves' solo film, The Batman. Though he did say he may appear as the Dark Knight one last time in the upcoming Flashpoint movie. Now how that's going to work, I'm not sure, but in Flashpoint, anything's possible. Reeves himself has said that he wants to cast the role with fresh talent for the solo film. As you may have heard, Jake Gyllenhaal has been in the running to replace Affleck, but now there are rumors that Mad Men star Jon Hamm is, quote, desperate for the gig. The big shakeup at DC is expected to happen in January, and we'll know a lot more about what their future plans are and who is in charge at that point. On to some other movie news. Earlier this week, we got our first official trailer to the Jurassic World sequel, Fallen Kingdom. In this new film, the abandoned island of Isla Nublar's volcano is set to erupt, threatening every species in its path.
What could go wrong?
It looks like a small team is sent to the island to rescue as many animals as they can, but no one told the dinosaurs that, as the team will find no shortage of danger. Also in the film, Owen is reunited with Blue, we'll have to see how that meeting goes, and the return of Dr. Ian Malcolm. Though it looks like this time Malcolm is smart enough to remain stateside, while the new blood does all the running and screaming. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is set to be released in June of next year. On to some Marvel news. Earlier this week, we got some of our first images of the upcoming X-Men Dark Phoenix film. In this image, we see Jessica Chastain's entrance into the X-Men franchise. It hasn't been announced what her character's name is yet, but many believe her to be a Skrull agent, sent to capture the power of the Phoenix to be used for the Skrull Empire. Also, this image of my hometown girl Jennifer Lawrence reprising her role as Mystique, the now field leader of the X-Men. Lawrence says that Mystique has, quote, grown up a lot. She's more maternal, which surprised me. She starts to get more protective of the children, and Charles wants to push them to prove to the world that mutants can be good for humanity, and I just see them as small children. And finally, this image of some of our X-Men sporting funeral attire, which is never a good thing. Whose funeral is it is anyone's guess, so take what you know about the Phoenix Saga and make your own speculations. X-Men Dark Phoenix is set to be released in November of next year. On a side note, is anyone else reeling from all the new X-Men spin-offs that have been coming out lately? I mean, there's almost too many to keep up with now. Okay, you've got the X-Men films. Then you've got Deadpool, with Deadpool 2 set to come out next year. And then an X-Force film is soon to follow. Then you've got the X-Men horror film, New Mutants, set to come out in March of next year. On TV, it's even more confusing. You've got Legion on FX, The Gifted on Fox, and The Runaways on Hulu, which so far I have been very underwhelmed by. I mean, are all these storylines in the same universe? Are they in their own separate universe? I mean, the X-Men movie universe is hard enough to make sense of without trying to throw in all these other timelines. It feels like Fox just needs to, reel it in a bit. Speaking of 20th Century Fox, have you guys heard the reports about Disney wanting to buy 20th Century Fox? Oh, don't tease me, Disney. Don't tease me. Can you imagine it? The Avengers and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four all in the same movie together, with the Fantastic Four finally getting a decent movie. Reports say that Disney and 20th Century Fox could be close to reaching a deal for Fox's film and television assets as early as Christmas. Both companies have brought in their bankers to work on the fine points of the deal. The deal is set to be valued at $74 billion. Disney is set to acquire 20th Century Fox's film and TV studios, the FX networks, the National Geographic Cable Group, and Fox's 30% stake in Hulu. As for the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, if the deal is made, it's still unlikely we'll see them integrate into the MCU until late 2019 at the earliest, with projects like Deadpool 2 and X-Men Dark Phoenix already on the schedule. Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds, chimed in on the potential deal with a tweet saying, "Time to uncork that explosive sexual tension between Deadpool and Mickey Mouse." But it's not just the Marvel characters that would be affected. Oh my god. Disney would own the rights to Firefly. Can you imagine? Disney. I know that Fillion is he's getting a little up there in years. So if you need somebody to be a young Captain Reynolds, hey, I'm your guy. I mean, I know I'd have to lose a few pounds, but still, the face, come on. Disney, give me a call. I'll be in the gym tomorrow. I'm just so excited thinking about all these possibilities. I'm going to be watching this story closely as it develops. Okay. Now on to some Star Trek news. It seems that the rumored Quentin Tarantino directed Star Trek movie is now a go, and it will be rated R. According to sources, Tarantino pitched an idea for a Star Trek story to Paramount and J.J. Abrams, and they loved it. But for Tarantino to be on board, he said the movie would have to be rated R. And the studio agreed! What Tarantino has in store for the Star Trek universe is anyone's guess, but I can assure you it will be nothing short of fascinating. Okay, and finally in entertainment news, and this is hardly news, Star Wars The Last Jedi, it's almost here, guys. A lot of mixed feelings going in, excitement, a little trepidation, but mostly excitement. First off, the Porg. Okay, call me cynical, but I already hate this thing. I mean, what the hell is it doing next to Chewie on the Millennium Falcon? It looks like something out of Fantastic Beasts. Is this going to be the Ewok and Jar Jar Binks of the new trilogy? Well, we'll find out soon enough. Second, does Rey turn to the dark side, or are they just trolling us with those images from the trailer? Well, I'd have to say Finn would really have to step up as the main hero of Episode 9 if that were to happen. And finally, the fate of General Leia. Of course, Carrie Fisher wasn't able to complete filming for Episode 9 before she passed away, so what fate awaits her character in this film? In the trailer, we're led to believe that Kylo Ren has the opportunity to destroy the ship his mother is on, severing his final tie to the light side. But, does he do it? And also, trailers can be misleading. Personally, I'm still holding out hope that we see Leia wield a lightsaber in this film, and she gives Kylo a much-needed spanking. But hopefully all questions will be answered this Friday in theaters everywhere. Okay, now on to this week's movie review, and this week I saw what Rotten Tomatoes considers to be a perfect movie, with Lady Bird. Lady Bird tells the coming-of-age story of Christine McPherson, who prefers to go by Lady Bird, as she struggles through Catholic high school in a post-9/11 era with relationships with her mother, boys, and her best friend.
You can't do anything unless you're the center of attention!
We won't be liked.
Yeah, well, you know your mom's tits, they're totally fake! She made one bad decision at 19! 2 bad decisions!
Now, Lady Bird currently enjoys a 100% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so obviously the critics really love it. So when I went into the theater, I was skeptical, but my expectations were still pretty high. So first off, the performances are top-notch. Laurie Metcalf gives an Oscar-worthy performance as Lady Bird's mother, Marion. Director Greta Gerwig does an excellent job writing the struggles and awkwardness of adolescence, not to mention the attitude and arrogance so many of us have as teenagers. Still, I felt there were a lot of drop plot lines in the film. A few of the subplots involving a lot of the supporting characters were just kind of left hanging by the end of the film. I felt kind of cheated on that front. And the final resolution to the main characters in the film, I don't know, I just remember sitting in the theater when the credits started to roll feeling I wanted just a little bit more out of that. Still, excellent film, should definitely be considered an Oscar contender this year. Not sure it deserved the perfect score rating, and that's why I'm giving it 3 popcorns out of 4. Now, finally, on to this week's Movie-ism, and this is one I like to call... This is what happens when 2 of our heroes meet for the first time and somehow they just get off on the wrong foot. The most famous example of this in recent years would have to be Batman vs. Superman.
Next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy.
Tell me. Do you bleed? You will.
But it's not just bats and soups that have had this problem. Plenty of other heroes have had the same awkward first meeting.
He gives up the cube, he's all yours. Until then, stay out of the way.
Tourist.
Okay.
Just remember, you started this. Stay down.
Those are mighty nice tags you have on there, sir. The man who took me wore tags just like them. Now, bub, you listen to me.
But eventually, all of our heroes bury the hatchet and start working together.
No hard feelings, Point Break. You got a mean swing.
Well, that about does it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for all the latest content, and don't forget to check out my friends at Frackin' Nerds on Facebook. A lot of exciting things coming up in entertainment news the next few weeks, so be sure to stay tuned for all the latest... Don't move. You can't see us if we don't move. Oh, that Dr. Grant is full of